You're welcome back to The Pulse. Now, he's a man who has had his own journey of bringing back the spirit that led Dr. Hilary Liman to the Flagstaff House. He's also a doctor, but has made a return of his own after making the trip towards a sabbatical. Some have christened his return as the return to seriousness with the political party which has the symbol of the coconut, tough on the outside and sweet on the inside. So is this a return to a battle for a credible third force in the 2016 elections, or will this be the underdog in this contest? The man from Sumni Boma in the northern region, Dr. Edward Mahama, is my guest today on The Pulse. Welcome to the program, Dr.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, great. So,
and what is your pulse rate?
My
pulse rate. Pulse?
Yes, the pulse.
Yes. What is the pulse rate?
You want to check for me this afternoon? You want to check for me?
At the end of the program.
Okay, great. No problem. We will do that, certainly. Right. So I guess we need to start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Before you came for the primaries for the PNC for this year's elections,
yeah,
where had you been?
In Ghana, at the clinic, and at my church. I really enjoyed the time I was off, looking at what is going on in the country and how we could fix it, including monitoring doomsaw. I have a book in the clinic where I was monitoring lights on, lights off, lights on, lights off, since 2005. So,
and what was your analysis in that small book of yours?
Well, my analysis was that it can be solved and should be solved because energy or power is life.
So in your small quarters as a doctor in your clinic, how did that power outages affect you?
Very much so, because since 2005, I have tried to implement a paperless practice. And that means using IT. And IT is driven by power. So not only have I been a doctor, but I have to be an electrical engineer, making sure that the generator is ready and that it kicks in when the power goes off. And some days you have the power going off 2-3 times. It's really annoying and irritating to try to do anything like that in Ghana.
Okay, but from that time up until now, have things not improved?
Not really. This morning and since yesterday, I've had doomsaw. I'm still running on a generator. So if somebody tells me it's improved, I can't see it, because all I am keeping is lights on, lights off. Whether it's due to transformer or due to some other source is none of my business. I need the power to do my work. And when it is off, I notice. When it is back on, I notice.
Okay. But I just heard you mention a few minutes ago that
yes,
you were enjoying your stay
yes,
in your clinic as a doctor.
Yes.
Why did you have to come back?
Many people, including people outside the PNC, thought that this election is a very problematic one for Ghana. And if you remember, in 2008, we had to go to the third round to get a winner between then Professor Mills and Nana Akufo-Addo. Then in 2012, we had to go to the Supreme Court. And even within the parties, there's evidence that there'll be some serious problems. And so some people that I consider anointed by God said, look, Dr. Mahama, we know that you are passionate about this country. We think your involvement will be helpful for this country because you campaign on issues. People who have watched since 1996, since I've been in the contest, know that I campaign on issues. And they thought that somebody, as you said at the beginning, a serious person like a medical doctor who has seen the evidence of violence, being in this campaign and driving the campaign in the direction of issues would do Ghana a lot of good. And that's why I came back. Okay.
Now, upon your return,
yeah,
in what state did you find the PNC?
Very sad state, because most of the offices were closed. And because of what happened in the past, people thought that the party was a joking party.
What happened in the past?
Well, many things happened. But my agenda for coming is to take it from the past into the future.
No, but
I'd
again,
rather talk about that.
But again, the import of progression is an understanding and learning from the past.
Yes.
You're saying that many people thought the party had become a party of jokers.
Yes.
Who made it so?
The previous presidential candidate.
You're referring to Dr. Hassan Ayariga.
He was the previous presidential candidate, yes.
So you're saying that based on that, you have to come and save the party?
I'm not a savior, but I have a role to play in this election. And that's the point I'm trying to make, that somebody like me in this election who campaigns on issues can better move the nation in that direction. If you care to know, National Health Insurance, go back and look at the presidential debates of 2000, 1996, 2000. I was the one who campaigned very much on it, and it became a policy. If you look at school feeding program, in 2004, when I was talking about it, people in power said, look, this nation is hippic. Mahama is throwing dust in the eyes of people. Where is he going to get the money? Now, school feeding is a program, and you know what? It was intended originally by the people who brought it to help the deprived communities.
Okay.
Recently, I was in Patorogu in the overseas area of Ghana. I was in Kubari. I was in Logri, Yagaba. Those 5 communities, none of them have the school feeding program. And I think that is very, very, very unfortunate, because it is those hinterland, those areas that really need the school feeding program more than people in Accra.
But if you say the PNC is in a sad state, do you not rather blame the executives who've been running the party since your departure up until this minute?
Well, I don't blame anybody. I've seen the state. It's like when you come to me as a doctor, you are in shock. Maybe you've been even hit down. You were talking about accidents. I'm not going to start blaming the doctor, the car that knocked you down. I'm going to take care of you. And that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I've come, the party is in a certain condition. I know where I want to take it, and that's what I want to do.
Where do you want to take the PNC? Many have been asking that question.
That's
because,
right. That's
sorry,
right.
Sorry, just to finish.
Yes.
Many are asking, what is that new thing Dr. Mahama is bringing? Because we've seen him in the past, in 96, in 2000, in 2008. What's he going to bring now?
Definitely. That is why I'm telling Ghanaians, it is my turn. In 1996, God, out of his own wisdom, selected 3 men to run for Ghana, the presidency of Ghana: J.J. Rawlings, J. Kufuor, Edward Mahama. That year, the people of Ghana told me, be patient, we want to give Jerry Rawlings his last term. Then in 2000, they said, oh, Kufuor has been at it since 1969. Now it's my turn. I've been at it since 1996.
But if that is supposed to be true,
yes,
that will have shown in your numbers, in your performance from 96.
Yeah.
And just to go through it, in 1996, you had 3% of the total votes cast. In 2000, you had 2.5%. That's a reduction of 0.5%. And then in 2008, it dropped significantly to 0.87%. Why should anyone believe that you are the right person to win this election?
1996, PNC had 1 seat in parliament. 2000, we had 3 seats in parliament. 2004, we had 4 seats in parliament. So while my numbers were dropping, I was growing the party.
How?
So anybody,
only in the parliamentary seats and winning votes?
Well, but that's what you need to do to actually govern this country. That's why the majority, usually, that's what they want in parliament. So I did not see the drop in my personal numbers as something to discourage me. And if you care to know, in 2000, when Dr. Afarijan called for a rerun, and NDC and NPP were both arguing that they had won it in the first round, what he said was that if anybody didn't get all his votes, it's Edward Mahama of the PNC. That tells you that I had not been getting all my votes.
Okay, that was in 2000.
And yes,
2008 was 0.87%.
2012, yes, that's the point I'm making. 2012, we ended up at the Supreme Court because somebody thought they didn't get their votes. So it tells you that our elections are not as credible as we would want to paint them to be.
So you're saying all the elections you've been a part of have not been credible?
Yes.
Your votes were stolen?
My votes were stolen.
Who stole it?
the one who should count them admitted that he didn't give me all my votes. What do you want me to say?
And did you ask him why?
It was over. It was over, and I'm a man of peace. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm here. Because people think that if we continue in this path, this country may see what happened in Côte d'Ivoire, God forbid. This country may see what happened in Liberia. And people say, you're a man of peace, come and get involved. And I think my involvement is intended to give the people of Ghana an option, a credible option. As I said, since I have been running and contributing so much to national social development, national health insurance, school feeding, GET Fund, Ministry of Women and Children, this is the time for Ghanaians
Those are the issues and the policies, Dr. Mahama. But for anyone who's sitting home and watching the show right now and saying, okay, Dr. Mahama, his name rings a bell, I might want to vote for him. If they look at your numbers, it doesn't inspire
But they don't look at numbers. If
they
were
do,
looking,
sir.
listen,
your performance determines why they'll vote for you.
If they were looking at numbers, they would also be paying attention to issues. In fact, in 2000, that presidential debate, the BBC commentator said if Dr. Mahama were in America or Britain, he would be the president of this country because he's the only one who seems to know what Ghana needs.
But again, you want to win the elections here in Ghana.
That's right. That's right. You know, your station or your outfit has been doing the ballot box.
Yes.
I've been following it. And I was just mentioning to them that indeed they should have started this in 2000 because we all know that Ghanaians are either voting tribally or along partisan levels and never on the issues. We need to get them. That's why every election we get tensed up and afraid that something will happen.
But is that not also because these things have been happening largely because our population, more than 50%, are not well educated? And so even if you discuss the issues, how many people understand those issues to be able to grasp and vote properly, as you want to call it?
Indeed, you are right. In 2001, I, at my own expense, went to Cuba to find out how they were able to eradicate illiteracy in 1 year in Cuba. And so you see, I've been paying attention to what is happening in Ghana. And also, that is why my campaign theme this year is New Beginnings, New Deal, New Force.
What's in a New Deal and New Force?
The New Deal, I want to give a deal to cocoa farmers to make Ghana #1 producer of cocoa again. We have been there, we can get there again. I want to give a new deal to rice farmers, of which I was one. In 1976, we were exporting rice. Today, our net import of rice, our import bill is about $800 million. And I'm saying in 2 to 3 farming seasons, with Edward Mahama as president, we will have that import bill. Okay? The new force, I'm looking at 18 to 35-year-olds and telling them, when you vote for John Mahama, you voted an NDC president. When you vote for Nana Akufo-Addo, you voted an MPP president. When you vote for Edward Mahama, you vote your own president.
What's the difference?
The difference is that if you are not an NDC because they're in power, you don't get even to buy fertilizer. These are the things. And I've seen it.
What's the guarantee that if the PNC comes in, we will not see the same?
Because Mahama says you won't see the same. That's what I'm running on.
It's one thing saying it, and it's another actually letting that not
and
happen.
that is the thing. When I was campaigning on school feeding, they said he's saying it, he can't do it. But it's a policy now, implemented.
Okay.
When I was campaigning on national health insurance, they said, where is he going to get the money? But it's there. So what Edward Mahama says, he will try to do, and will do it.
Okay. Now, you say that your party has a certain national appeal, and so that should be one of the reasons why anyone would want to vote for you in this year's election. But again, we've heard one other matter of PNC and CPP being the true Nkrumah's forces in this country today.
Yeah.
That talk of an alliance has been on the table for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
What's happened to it?
Well, maybe next time you have the CPP, you can ask them, because we, since 2008, if you've been following, we have given a step-by-step approach to uniting them. And we have said we can field one presidential candidate. And I have offered both times that I'm willing to be the running mate to the CPP candidate and will file the presidential ticket on my symbol. her name. Or vice versa. I'll be the candidate, the CPP candidate will be my running mate, and will file on the name CPP and its symbol. When you have to do something, you have to find a formula for doing it. The unity has been problematic, so we have suggested this. They haven't brought anything, so we are waiting for them.
Because what you said sounds like a very good deal. Why are they not taking it? You've been in discussions with them.
Well, they said they are considering it, so we'll wait and see whether we'll be able to file.
And when did they say this?
Oh, last month.
Because indeed, I had an interview with Ivor Greenstein and asked him who his running mate will be. He said it will be an interesting choice. Is that the silent plan we are yet to see?
You should have asked him. I cannot know what is in his head.
No, but again, if the two of you are looking at an alliance, is that a possibility?
Well, yes. If they agree to what we have suggested, yes, certainly that could be a possibility.
You being his running mate?
Yes.
We should expect it as a country.
I will file on the PNC's name and symbol.
PNC's name and symbol.
That's right.
So your trade will be to be his running mate, but your symbol will be that of the PNC.
That's right.
And if that does not happen, so if that does not happen, then it means no alliance.
No, if that does not happen, the other way is that I will be the candidate, he'll be my running mate, and we'll file on the CPP name and ticket symbol.
Okay. One other thing we need to sort out with the parties and their colors and everything before we move on to other issues today is this. There's been a lot of talk about the PNC not garnering enough national appeal because if you look at the executive of the party and the leader of the party, it often comes from northern Ghana. Is that enough proof that it doesn't have a national appeal?
No.
Why is that?
Because we have a national appeal. We have offices in all places, in all parts of Ghana, and our candidates and executives in many parts of Ghana are not from the north.
I'm talking about the national executive branch. You look at that set, and no one seems to come from any other parts of the country except the north.
If you have a northern name, it doesn't necessarily mean that you come from the north. That is true. Because there are some names that are Islamic, for example, and so when people have those names, it's very difficult. And when people say that, I just laugh because they have not been following the PNC very well. For example, over the years, the chairmanship has gone from north to south, east to west, and so I don't take that seriously at all, It's just like when you are in the States and people think you are a black man and you are in a white neighborhood, immediately they think you are there to do something. So it's a perception and a stereotype. I don't accept it.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier that the elections in the past have not been credible. For this year's election, looking at the Electoral Commission and what you're doing in preparation, are you satisfied with the level of work so far?
No.
What are your concerns?
Well, I thought after the Supreme Court decision that we would have had a new voters register done. And failing that, we have talked about cleaning or auditing the register. I have not seen it being done with the seriousness that I expect. And so, yes, I still have a problem with the register, yes.
So it's your thinking that if nothing is done, your votes again will be stolen in this year's election?
That's possible. We will be vigilant. In fact, I was in Kumasi and I met all the my campaign teams from all the 47 constituencies, and I told them they should be very vigilant. We're not going to let anybody steal the election from us. So right now, our emphasis is on being vigilant at the polling station, And I'm sure that if we put in the level of vigilance that we will put in, and all the other parties are vigilant, nobody can steal.
Okay. This limited voter registration has taken some 6 days. We are in the 7th day today.
Yeah.
What's your own assessment of how the process has been so far?
As you know, there have been problems reported in the media, but I personally haven't those areas that I've gone, they've been smooth and going on smoothly, so I can't say too much about that.
And for these incidents that we have had being reported, do you think the EC could have done a lot better in terms of public education and sensitization so we don't see these problems happen?
Indeed, the EC and the NCCE have not done a great enough job to educate our people about this democratic dispensation in which we are. That's why we're not voting on issues. I'm voting because this is my party. Whether your party is doing well or not is my party. How can we change the country when we don't vote on the issues? And those educating the masses in this lies squarely on the shoulders of the NCC. Of course, the political parties, we are doing our bit. But they have a mandate and funding for doing that. So yes, I think that a lot more could be done.
Okay. Now, let's still stay with the Electoral Commission. There's now a new look, a new logo, a new direction, a 5-year strategic plan. Were you there at the launch?
No.
Why?
I think I was campaigning somewhere. I was out of town.
But again, you know what the plan is. You know what the new logo and the plan is.
I have read what they said they want to do, yes.
What do you make of it?
Well, it's always good to have a plan, but I think that this election, they should have brought this after this election, because here we are on the doorstep of a very crucial election. Election following 2 disputed elections or difficult elections. And I would have preferred that they concentrated on making sure that this election comes off smoothly, and then they bring their plan ahead. But to bring it now gives mixed feelings, you know. How are you sure that what you have done so far will give us a credible election, considering that we had to end up in the Supreme Court in 2012, and the one before that we had to go into January. So basically, I think the Electoral Commission, they have a lot of work to do, and I wish them well. I hope that they do a good job, because the peace and stability and prosperity of Ghana is in their hands.
For all these issues you raise about the EC, their performance and what they need to do, have you made your concerns very clear? And by that I mean your party. Have you made your voices very clear at the Inter-Party Advisory Committee meetings? And what's been the response?
Oh yes. Our people have always gone, and we have written a memoranda, you know. So basically, yes, we've made our concerns known. For example, one of the things that I have been saying since 2000 is that we need a national identification number or social security number that allows us to be able to track individuals very well. I don't know why we can't get that simple thing done, you know. And it's part of the problem at during the elections, you know. So, yes, we've made our views known, yes.
Okay, let's talk about something else that's happening today, which is trending. The news of the Ashanti Regional MPP chairman released after slapping a member of parliament some days ago. What do you make of that incident?
That is what I'm saying about this year's election. It has all the makings of possible violence. And it's going to take a lot of effort on all Ghanaians, not just the EC or the political parties, all Ghanaians, to make sure that November 7th comes and passes peacefully, and January 7th comes and we have a new president, Edward Mahama, sworn in, so that this country can move ahead. Indeed, I've always prayed and said, God, don't make me president of Ghana in the midst of violence, because the ideas I have to transform this nation cannot be done when there is violence. I am the only clinic in Ghana that does paperless practice, and I've been doing that since 2005. IT drive the world. And our science education is very poor. In fact, you know that the last several leaders of China have all been scientists. And that's how come China has been able to overtake America. Our science education, nothing is being done. I have been campaigning that as president, I will put in an R&D, that's research and development fund in the budget. Nobody is doing that. And so the nation needs somebody who is thinking ahead. And that should be Edward Mahama.
Are you saying that for all the other parties and the kind of pockets of violence we're seeing, you're the only one that's peaceful that can turn this country around?
No, I'm not saying I'm the only one. I'm the one who has offered himself. I'm running among the candidates. I'm running. And I say this is my agenda to make sure that Ghana remains peaceful. So if you are out there and you are looking for peace, your candidate is Edward Mahama.
Okay, Dr. Mahama.
Yes.
I would want you to give me a very honest answer to this one. You've always been talking about issues since the first time you ran in 1996 to 2000, 2008. Yeah. People heard you. Yeah. They listened to you. Yeah. How come they never voted for you?
It's a good question. that I have not been able to answer, because Ghanaians are naturally very intelligent people.
It's been 20 years since you launched your presidential ambition.
Yes.
You still don't know why they don't want to vote for you?
No. Let me. I'm making a point. I said Ghanaians naturally are very intelligent. You go outside Ghana, and any Ghanaian outside Ghana is at the top. He comes home, and the things that he was doing out there, he can't do. That's why I'm saying that it's not Edward Mahama. It's the systems that we have put in place in this country. That is why a nation that is the richest nation was the richest. I mean, if you were called Gold Coast, gold is the standard of measure of wealth. And yet, we are poor. We have diamond, we have cocoa, we have bauxite, we have manganese, we have columbite tantalite, we have everything, and now oil. And yet, our roads, have you seen Accra from the sky? Dirt roads all over. This morning, I saw some children looking for water on their heads in Accra. And I said, what is wrong with this nation? When they put Mahama there, maybe it will begin to change.
You see, the question I'm asking is this. Again and again, they've heard you with your message.
Yes.
I'm asking that in the past 20 years, you still don't know why they've not taken that swift decision to vote for you?
Well, to vote for me, yes, but they have taken what I'm talking about. I have already enumerated the policies.
So why are they not making you president then?
This is the time that we are going to do that.
How have things changed for you to think that they will vote for you now?
Things have changed because they have seen what I have talked about come into policy and help people. The other day, somebody was showing me his national health insurance. And I said, very good. Indeed, I used to take it at my clinic. Only in February, I said, they are not paying me, and therefore, I wrote them and said, I was the proponent of this program, and I'm sad to stop taking your patients.
Okay, but again, it's good to have the idea.
That explains. You see, a good policy mismanaged. That explains why Dr. Mahama has not been voted. A good policy mismanaged. Yes.
It's okay to have an idea, but the one who implements it, be it managed or mismanaged, owns it. So how do you get in a position, how do you get in a position where these fine ideas you speak of, you first push your efforts to win an election, and then you can roll out these nice ideas?
Yes, let me remind you. In 2000, a candidate said, I won't say what I want to do because some other person in power will take it and use it. This tells you the difference between Edward Mahama and others. I mean this to improve Ghana. So even as I haven't won, but the things I have been passionate about have helped people, I have won. You get that? Even as I haven't won, but the things that I have proposed have helped people. If you see a school bus passing with Get Fund written on it, thank Edward Mahama, because the very first time I talked about it, BBC interviewed me about it in Kumasi. So when I see that, I get satisfaction. Being the president, I always say the presidency, the authority of the presidency is like my stethoscope. It allows me, the stethoscope, to make a diagnosis and give treatment and patients recover. The authority of the presidency will allow me to build those schools that have not been built. It will allow me to build those clinics that have not been built. So I see it as an instrument for doing good. And so the fact that I haven't gotten it yet doesn't make me dismay. Doesn't make me believe that I can't get it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. If you're just joining us, we're having an interview with the flag bearer of the PNC, Dr. Edward Mahama. He's looking to win this year's 2016 elections. After the break, we'll ask him how he will go about, what his strategy is in ensuring that these fine ideas he talks about will translate into him winning the 2016 election. Stay with us here on The Pulse. You're welcome back to The Pulse, and our special guest today is the flag bearer of the PNC, Dr. Edward Mahama. Just before the break, he was talking about what his plans are for this country and how he intends to win this year's election. Dr. Mahama, we're back, but the question I need to ask is this. This is your fourth time of asking the Ghanaian electorate.
The fifth.
The fifth time, in fact. Fifth time of asking the Ghanaian electorate to vote for you. How do you intend winning this election?
You know, when I started, there were no private media as we have today. In fact, shortly after 1996, Radio I came on, and then Radio Joy, you know. But today, I have a website, drmahama2016.org. So what I stand for, many more people will get access to it. In the past, in fact, in 2000, Professor Jimabuade did a study, and he found out that the newly formed Reform Party had more coverage, media coverage, than Edward Mahama. And he found that very strange, you know, CDC. You see? So I'm telling you, I have not always gotten the coverage, but this time it is difficult. Also, I'm preaching what will bring me to the presidency. This mental, attitudinal change that Ghanaians have to pick up. The can-do spirit, you know. I have also said that Ghanaians should see that I'm making a covenant with them, with God as my witness, that the things I say will happen. For example, new beginnings. You write a letter to the ministry, you never get a reply. You write a letter to any government institution, you have to go there to follow up. A contractor finishes his work, he presents his certificates, he has to follow up. All those things will be changed.
Okay.
Yes. To make Ghana efficient.
Okay.
You know?
The only thing I hear, which is new here, is this. You made a covenant with us 4 times. This is your 5th time of making a new one with us. The difference here is that you want a bit more media coverage, and your message will go
Not that I want, I'm getting.
You are getting.
Yes.
It. So you're saying that media coverage will be that trump card in winning this election?
No. The new force.
Which is what?
18 to 35-year-olds. These are the targets that the people I have targeted. That's why I've gone with IT, because that is what they know. And so basically, I'm reaching them. In fact, if you go on my website, you'll see. I'm reaching them, you know. And also the message. When I say, for example, that I will lead Ghanaian farmers to have the import bill for rice, I'm talking about something I did. I did rice farming to give myself a scholarship to go to America. I didn't go on government scholarship or mission scholarship. I did rice farming. And I'm saying that I can lead Ghana to produce rice and have the import bill. That means that $400 million will be in the Ghanaian farmer's pocket, rice farmer's pocket. This is a message that every farmer, rice farmer, has said. I have told poultry farmers that we are going to feed a chicken leg or thigh or drumstick, as they call it in America, to our children in schools. And we're going to grow the maize in our farm plains and turn the maize into chicken feed in Brong-Ahafo and feed that chicken feed to chicken and feed the chicken to our children. I've been talking about these things. People have heard me. Let me tell you something. The other day I was doing an interview with the radio station in the United States. And the Ghanaian living there said, Dr. Mahama, in 1996, when you first ran, you said you will adjust the minimum wage to be the equivalent of $5 a day. Do you still stand by it? 1996, 20 years ago, he heard me. So if people have heard me over these years and have seen the consistency of the message, have seen the determination of Edward Mahama, have seen what I have done in my small clinic, taking it into the 21st century, any Ghanaian who wants to move forward will be voting for Edward Mahama. Okay, my message is powerful.
Okay, so once you've touched on your clinic, we might as well go back to health.
Yes.
You mentioned that the NHIS was your idea, is now not doing so well.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's not doing well?
Well, first I thought that the levy, the 2.5% levy, should have been paid directly to the National Health Insurance Authority. It goes into consolidated fund. And therefore, providers are not paid, you know. There have been discussions, and I was at it when we were celebrating 10 years of the NHIS, whether some adjustment, other sources of funding for it should come in. I have thought about some, and will make that appropriately known at the proper time. But I think that it's a good program. It's the single most important social intervention in the last 50 years in Ghana. Because I came up with that idea because when I arrived from America at Kolubu, a 17-year-old girl died in my hands because of cash and carry, which was the policy of the day in 1990. And I said, gee, 17. She could have lived to be 87 or 90. And at 17, she's going, and she was a beautiful girl. And I said, what is going on with this cash and carry?
So how would you make NHIS viable and profitable?
I have just told you, we will not pay the levy that is specifically meant by law.
That's the solution to the problem.
It's part of the solution.
What's the rest?
I will tell you next time.
Is there a reason you won't tell us now?
I have other things to talk about now.
No, but again, people want to know beyond just redirecting the funds, how you revive the system. Because there are talks of claims that are underwritten or overwritten, other problems in the system.
You haven't heard me. I have said that I want to be the David of Ghana to fight the Goliath of Ghana, which is corruption. Corruption is part of the problem.
At NHIS?
Yes.
How bad is it?
Very bad, because providers are not being paid.
How does that equate to corruption?
I have been reliably informed that some of the money have been put in accounts, treasury bills, whatever, to mature and provide money for some people.
Which people?
Those who are managing it. You know that the last but one chief executive was interdicted or removed. You know, why did they remove him? Why was he removed?
The BNI was doing their own investigations.
Yes. Why were they investigating him?
So you're saying that the reason we're having this problem...
That is the proof that there is corruption there.
But again, they haven't told you why. So how then do you say that is proof of corruption? Every organization is investigated.
Yeah, no, not every investigation. It's a multitude being investigated.
Every state institution is investigated.
Well, I don't know about that. But I know that there is corruption in Ghana in almost every state institution.
Okay, but it's interesting what you say about managers of the NHIS. You have it on good authority that they made investments in their accounts in treasury bills. How much are we talking about?
Oh, well, enough to make the program difficult to operate.
How much?
I say enough.
How much, sir?
Enough.
How much?
Enough.
I don't know what enough means.
Well, enough means that enough to make sure that providers are not being paid. Isn't that enough? Have you known that the Church Hospitals Association on occasion have to go on strike and threaten to stop completely before they were paid?
We have seen those strikes.
Yeah,
but,
so basically,
but the
I'm
issue
telling
you
you,
speak of monies being put in accounts is something that's interesting. How much are in those accounts?
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. It's not one thing. A combination of factors. And I'm not going to sit here and say that this is it. I have told you there is corruption.
To open the lid is to open it completely, isn't it?
Because, listen, I have told you there is corruption there. I've told you that they are paying part of the money. They are not paying the money designated by law to go to them directly to the authority, but putting it in the consolidated fund. These are two good reasons why the program has a problem, and Dr. Mahama will fix it.
And how would you fix it? Apart from the 2.5% that you redirect and dealing with the corruption?
Well, if I deal with the corruption, isn't that a big thing? Corruption is killing Ghana. You know that. Yes. And I'm going to be the David of Ghana to fight the Goliath of Ghana, which is corruption. So you can bet your bottom dollar, if you have one, that I will do the job to fix the problem.
Okay. That's for the health sector.
Yeah.
The economy, how are you going to change it?
Increase productivity. We are very, very unproductive as a nation. I've just told you, when I got here from the US, I got frustrated because the number of operations I used to do in Chicago in 1 week, it was taking me 4-6 weeks to do the same number of operations. And I said, gee, how can a nation that wants to move forward be so unproductive, so inefficient? And it's still happening. I have already told you that I'm going to lead Ghanaian farmers to produce more rice. And the $400 million that we would have used to buy the rice will remain in Ghanaian pockets. That will shore up the cedi if we are producing things that we eat. I've told you how I'm going to do the school feeding program. Everything locally. So basically, the plans are solid, and I'm sure that given the chance, Edward Mahama will turn Ghana around.
Who will be your running mate in this year's election?
We've already discussed it. I may be a running mate to somebody in the CPP, who knows?
If the alliance doesn't happen, then what? Who would it be?
Well, you know, in Ghana, we always look at regional balance, gender balance, and I'm considering all those, so I won't say who it will be now.
Well, some 6 months to the election. Clearly, you want to
No, but
market
that information, that I'm not, I shouldn't go there.
You're not what?
I was going to say I'm not Ted Cruz.
I see. Okay.
Well, yeah. It would have to, the information would have to go to my neck. They would have to approve my nomination before it can be made public.
Will it be a man or a woman? Don't give me a name. Will it be a man or a woman?
Either one. You know that twice I have used a woman.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know, now you know.
I do.
So I'm somebody who is gender sensitive. Of the 4 times I have run, 2 times I've used a woman, 2 times I've used a man.
So who will it be this time, man or woman?
I have already told you. I'm going to present the names to my neck.
The names will go. Just tell me the gender.
No. But if I say a man and the neck prefers the woman that I give them, then I become a liar.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Interesting. As we wrap up, Dr. Mahama, tell me something. What's your favorite dish?
It has to be tuonzafi.
Tuonzafi.
Yes.
Why?
I was brought up on it. I'm from Nalergu or Sumnumboma, as you said. Yeah. And there, the table food was tuonzafi. So basically, yes.
Okay. Your favorite song today? Your favorite song today?
My favorite song today. The one that I talk about all the time is the one by Michael Jackson. If you want to change the world, look at the man in the mirror. So I always look at myself.
Okay.
And say...
That's for global. For Ghana, what kind of song is played in Ghana that you really love? You say that's the best song for youth today.
Oh, I have so many. I haven't looked at... I have so many.
Do you love music? What kind of music do you love?
I would say that probably religious music.
Religious music.
Yes, because
who's your best gospel artist in Ghana today?
My best. I haven't arranged them to see.
Okay, don't arrange. Just give me one that you love to listen to.
That's I came here to talk about politics.
No, but people want to know you, what you love.
Yeah, if they want to know me, they know me now, because 20 years in public life, and nobody has dragged me to court for anything. 20 years in public life, and nobody has accused me of doing anything untoward. Knock on wood, it's God's grace, not my doing. And I'm proud to say that the life I've lived, let me finish it this way. I've always said that my life as an individual, my life as a family man, my life as a gynecologist, and my life as a politician is guided by my Christian principles. Okay. So that's Edward Mahama for you.
All right, Dr. Edward Mahama, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on the program. That's the flag bearer of the People's National Convention, Dr. Edward Mahama. Pretty silent on the things he loves, but we'll grant him that for today. Thank you. So that's how we...